biggest shock in next week's General Hospital spoilers is this. Charlotte and Danny may sneak into Windermere thinking they are one step ahead, only to walk straight into a nightmare they never saw coming. And if you ask me, that is only the beginning. Because once the secret doors start opening, one hidden truth could blow the whole thing wide open. Here is what is lining up for the week of May 18th through May 22nd. At first, it looks like Charlotte and Danny may actually pull off their sneaky move into Windermere. That alone is a huge deal, because this is not the kind of place you wander into by accident. This is a dark, dangerous setup, and once they are inside, everything could go wrong in a heartbeat. The real question is whether they make it in and out clean, or whether they get trapped before they can escape. And that is where Rocco comes in. Rocco seems to know something important, and I keep coming back to the same thought. If he is waiting outside for Charlotte and Danny to come back out, then he may realize very quickly that something is wrong. No return, no signal, no sign that the plan worked. That kind of silence is never a good sign in Port Charles. So what does Rocco do next? He may go straight to Dante. Now, that would make perfect sense to me. If Rocco cannot reach Charlotte and Danny, Dante is exactly the person he would trust to act fast. And Dante may not waste a second. If he gets the warning in time, he could rush into rescue mode before Sidwell even knows what hit him. But here is the part that really raises the stakes. Sidwell may not realize that Rocco is already aware of what is going on. That is a massive blind spot, because Sidwell may think he has everything under control, especially with Cassius working as his spy inside the police department. But if Dante moves too quickly, Cassius may not even get the chance to pass the warning along. That would leave Sidwell exposed, and for a man like him, that is the last thing he would want. And there is another twist lurking in this mess. Charlotte and Danny may not just get caught. They may actually find Jocelyn. Now that would be a jaw dropper. Imagine sneaking into Windermere, expecting one kind of danger, only to stumble right into the truth about Jocelyn's captivity. That could send both of them into total shock. It is one thing to suspect someone is missing. It is another thing entirely to see it with your own eyes. If that happens, then Charlotte and Danny are no longer just intruders. They become witnesses. And that changes everything. Because once they know Jocelyn is being held there, Sidwell's whole setup becomes a lot more fragile. He may think he has hidden all the evidence, but secrets have a way of turning loud when the wrong people see them. Charlotte and Danny could become the spark that brings the whole thing crashing down. But Sidwell may still have one dangerous advantage. He does not seem to realize that Rocco knows the secret. That mistake could cost him everything. If police show up before he expects them, he may not have time to cover his tracks. He may be focused on the wrong threat, while the real danger is already closing in. And yes, Cassius is still a factor, but he may not be enough. If Dante acts fast enough, Cassius could be too late to stop the rescue. That is the kind of timing twist soap fans live for, because it turns a controlled situation into a full-blown scramble in seconds. Now let's switch gears, because Cody may also be stirring up trouble of a very different kind. Cody is set to talk with Rick, and it sounds like he may admit that he let something slip about Rick's past kidnapping. If that is true, then Cody may have just opened a door he cannot close. Rick has every reason to be alarmed, because if the truth gets out, Molly could go into full protective mode. And I do mean full. If Molly believes someone hurt her father, she may want revenge, no matter how old the case is or who is involved. That kind of emotional response can turn a quiet secret into a loud public mess. So if Cody really did expose Rick's past, he may have just created a problem that spreads much further than he expected. But that is not where this story stops. Joe is also heading to the police station next week, and that instantly makes me wonder what his real role is going to be. On paper, he is a cop. But this feels bigger than a simple badge and paperwork visit. His first big assignment may be helping Dante with a rescue operation, and not just for the two captives tied to Windermere. There could be a third surprise hostage in the mix. That is the kind of detail that makes everything feel even more dangerous. Because if Joe is really stepping into action right away, then we may also start seeing more of who he truly is. His real identity could begin to surface, and that would add another layer of mystery to an already loaded week. Now let's move to Curtis and Trina, because they may finally have a reason to celebrate. Portia could go into labor, and that means a baby shower or baby celebration may be on the horizon. That sounds like a sweet family moment, and for once, Port Charles may get something close to a happy event. Curtis and Trina may be ready to enjoy the joy of a new baby. But, of course, this is General Hospital, so peace never stays peaceful for long. Curtis may decide that Isaiah should not be invited. Just like that, he may try to take Isaiah off the guest list completely. And Portia is not likely to let that slide. If she pushes back, the tension between them could flare fast, because Curtis making that call on his own may feel controlling and unfair. Then Portia may override him and make sure Isaiah comes anyway. And that is when things get really messy. Isaiah could arrive at the party only to face an entirely different problem. He may be accused of being the hit and run driver. That would be a massive turn, especially if Jordan shows up and points the finger at him. But even then, there is a strong chance that this is not as clear-cut as it looks. If you ask me, there could be a misunderstanding at the center of it. Jordan may not be completely certain. She may be acting on instinct, suspicion, or partial evidence rather than absolute proof. And in Soapland, that is exactly how innocent people get dragged into the fire. Still, once an accusation is made, it is hard to stuff it back in the box. Brooklyn may also be there, and her reaction could tell us everything. She may step back in fear because the guilt is eating at her. She may believe she is the real hit and run driver, and that secret could make every second of the party unbearable. Watching Isaiah get blamed while she stays silent may be almost too much for her to take. That is the kind of emotional pressure that makes a character crack. Because no matter how hard Brooklyn tries to hold it together, guilt has a way of turning every room into a trap. She may be smiling on the outside while falling apart on the inside. And if Isaiah gets arrested in front of everyone, that could push her even closer to the edge. But there is still one more blow waiting for Brooklyn. Michael may send her a gift, and not the kind that heals anything. He may give her photos of Chase and Willow looking very close, very intimate, and very much like a betrayal caught in the open. That is not a thoughtful present. That is a grenade wrapped in a ribbon, and Brooklyn is the one left holding it. That gift could hit harder than anyone expects because it touches every raw nerve at once. The pain, the suspicion, the betrayal, the humiliation, it all comes crashing in together. One set of photos may be enough to shatter whatever fragile balance she still has left. So next week on General Hospital, we may be looking at rescue missions, secret captives, false accusations, family blowups, and a betrayal that lands right in Brooklyn's lap. But the biggest question is this: is all of this happening by accident? Or is somebody's plan finally being exposed? Because if Charlotte, Danny, and Rocco are all moving at the same time, and Sidwell is missing the warning signs, then this could be the moment when the whole secret machine breaks apart. And when it does, who gets rescued, who gets arrested, and who gets completely exposed?
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.